Hello and welcome to episode 77 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. I'm Mark Mason and I'm joined by my two fellow amigos, Joel Valenzuela. How's it going, Joel?
It's going very well. Running around like a headless chicken today, as always.
Good to know. And Brian, aka Mastermind, how are you?
Good.
Excellent. And today we've got a special guest. I always thought his name was just DeltaEngine, but apparently that's the company. So it's actually Benjamin, who's the CEO of DeltaEngine, who's the creator of MyDashWallet, and if you're on the Discord, the tip bot as well. Welcome to the podcast, Benjamin.
Hi guys, I'm a big fan of the show. I watched every single episode. And
very nice.
Except
for this one. This is the one you won't be able to watch live because you're free.
Now.
Yeah, close enough.
I think the community is a big fan of you because in both Discords, it's always raining thanks to your tip bot. So the MyDashWallet it's played such a big role in the community. It's kind of hard to imagine the Dash community without MyDashWallet now. But for those, I mean, I know most of our audience are hardcore Dash fans, but I think we should probably start off with that. So, because in the title, I'll put MyDashWallet. But for those that don't know, what is MyDashWallet? What was the inspiration and what does it do?
Yeah, so initially, we got into Dash like 2 years ago, and like there was not much here in Germany, and there's also big problems in Germany to even acquire any cryptocurrency because there's no ATMs. Like it's one of the few countries where it's forbidden. Now it's not longer forbidden, but back then that was our main issue, that no one could get into Dash, which is kind of strange because like every other country had no problem. And so we wanted to have a easier on-ramp to do something like that. And like, that was not easy. So like we left it aside for a side, but then in December, actually someone in the Discord channel, which was pretty new back then, asked about, oh, could someone do a bot for Discord? And I was like, that's not difficult to do, like let's do it like in an evening. So I put up like in some script language some easy bot and just put it on there, and then you could just chat with it and it could do some simple commands. And then people were talking about, oh, why don't we have Dash on the bot, and then you can tip people and stuff like that. And then I thought, okay, this is getting out of hand, like this is getting more complicated. And there was also another competing bot developed, and there was then another team that also wanted to do a bot. So I just thought, let's put up a proposal and see how it goes. And the scope was too small. So we thought maybe we need like a whole system where we have a wallet for each user. And basically out of that, the whole MyDashWallet thing was created. Because I think for Ethereum, like it has a horrible wallet, like everything is like super user unfriendly. But the MyEthereum wallet and now MyCrypto is like one of the easiest wallets that you can have. And even though the software behind it is horrible, the interface to it is super simple. So that was basically our intention, to create something like that for Dash, which kind of was not really necessary as a wallet itself, and the Android and iPhone apps are pretty good already. But there were some aspects of it that were not so easy. So for example, sending someone Dash that doesn't have a Dash wallet, like how do you do that? And we thought about that, like we can send an email, and many people have a Twitter account, and that's basically how we started. And then we added Discord, we added Reddit, and now we recently added Telegram. So basically, the MyDashWallet now integrates all these kinds of features. So we have now a new chat feature, which we will show in a bit. You can tip people. There's like fun stuff like rain and doing games with a bot. So you can coin flip and flip your Dash to get twice as much or lose them all. Then you can mix with a wallet, which is a feature like most other SYN clients don't have. So basically all of them don't have that. So you can use it from a mobile and use a mixing feature, which is not trustless, but it's like the best you can get. And yeah, we have an own Explorer with some extra features in there, and like lots of stuff on the website to make it easier. And we're constantly improving that. Like most time now we're working on the bot, but we also have a ton of cool new features till the end of the year that are coming out on the website as well. And they're all included in the bot as well.
Hey, I've got a question. I may be doing something wrong, but I have like 3 MyDash wallets. I don't know if there's a way to combine them.
Yeah, you can link them up.
Okay, because I've got the one for Discord, but then when I tried to bookmark that link and then come back to it, it wouldn't. I guess because that's like a private key, and then I had to start a new wallet, which through the key store image, and then I have one on Reddit as well. How do you link them up?
So you type account, because the problem is you cannot claim an account of another person, because otherwise they can steal all your Dash. So you log into any account where you're already authenticated, and then with that you can link it to a new account that doesn't exist. So you can just say account and then the account that you want on the other platform. And currently we are looking on ways to do it on both sides. So you do it on Twitter, for example, and Discord, or on Discord and Telegram. And then basically the accounts are linked and all the funds are put into the same address and you can use the same. Like most people, I think Joel and like most the moderators, they all have done this. So all of them basically have one account only and can use it on any platform.
Yeah,
and
how do you
another feature I forgot, you can link up any Dash address to your account, so any Dash that you receive will always end up in your own Dash wallet, not in the tip account. So that's also a nice feature.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, how about the mobile wallet? Can you link the mobile wallet to everything else?
Yes. So basically, once you have a wallet that is known by the bot, you can do whatever you want. The problem is if the wallet doesn't know your private key, it cannot act on your behalf. So it needs to know. So basically, you're sharing the key with the bot. So the bot knows it and you know it. No one else knows it.
Interesting. I want to know more about DeltaEngine. So like how many people are in your team? And also as well, as there are many people using your service now, just to reassure me, you're a great guy and you've done a lot of good stuff, but what got you into Dash? And what made you do this? Was you into Dash before you built all this stuff? We know you're a fan of the show, but I mean, what's your history with Dash? And what is DeltaEngine?
Yeah, so DeltaEngine is a software development company. Basically, we did in the past mostly the engine itself, which is called DeltaEngine, which is for game developers to make it really easy to make games. So basically, you write the game on Windows, then you press a button, and it's automatically converted to Android, to iOS, to the Xbox, to PlayStation, and so on and so forth. And for that, we had a parent company, which was our main business contact. And for them, we did all the technology to make their game, which is called Soulcraft. And it's pretty big on Android. There's like 25 million downloads. So it's pretty cool. And that's the nicest showcase. The problem is the parent company went under. And now it doesn't exist anymore. And we are like in between stuff. And so we did lots of contract work. And there was more and more stuff crypto related, like in the late 2016 until now. So we had always like some kind of smaller crypto jobs. And I have been using Dash since like 2016 and Bitcoin a few years earlier. And my brother is like one of the earliest Bitcoiners. Like he was there since the start, but he basically always spent everything that he had, so he's not rich. And I was only using Bitcoin basically to pay stuff. So whenever I needed to pay it, then I was using it. And only much later I got into all this mining and trading and all this stuff, and working for different projects. Because also there's now much more money available, so it's now much easier to get a job in crypto. Like a few years ago, you would just do it for free. It was all open source. Now there's much more money in play.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah.
And the gaming aspect as well. If you can get Dash into mobile gaming apps, like what's the big one? I think Clash of Clans is like the #1, isn't it? I think at the moment. Well, it has been for a while anyway. So yeah, if you get Dash in that, that's great. So I had no idea that you kind of had this like gaming background. I guess I could have guessed from some of the posters in the background. I noticed a couple of graphics cards boxes as well. And I love graphics cards as well. So yeah, Brian likes his watches. I like my graphics cards. Joel likes his coffee.
I like my hair too.
Interesting. So, and literally just before we went live, you launched a new service as well. So do you want to give the background on that as well?
Yeah, so the idea, it was part of our proposal for the current MyDashWallet integration. So it's part 3. And one of the 10 features was basically, why don't we do like a chat feature, like Bitcoin Cash has it, where you can store directly chat messages on the blockchain. And yeah, we tried around with different settings and looked at it. Like, it's a bit more limited. So it works pretty much exactly like Bitcoin. So you can store, originally you could store in 2012 40 characters, which is not very much. And then they increased it to 80 characters, which is called like null data. And then you can do what, basically you send it to an output with 0 dash, so there's no value there, and you just attach it to a normal transaction. And that's like, it's a fun feature. You can use stuff which Dash already did to store some data for like I don't know, genomics and stuff, like whatever you want, you can store it. It's just tiny data, so mostly you would store like a link to somewhere else. But the cool thing is that link could never be destroyed because it's now on the blockchain, and once it's confirmed, it's there forever. And the same is also true for chat messages. So you can imagine someone that like wants to marry someone and like, oh, I love you so much, and then he wants to do something special, then he does something like that. Or like, you want to put up a contract or something and just make sure everyone knows and everyone agrees, you could put like a link to that. Obviously, people will also do other not so fun stuff, and we have to put filters in place. But first of all, we have to check if anyone uses that new feature. And it's really easy to use. You can either log into the wallet and just, like now there's a chat box, and you can just enter anything and store it in the blockchain. Or if you're using the Discord, Telegram, Twitter, or Reddit bots, you can just use the chat feature. So you just make / or ! chat, and then you write any message, and then that's stored in the blockchain. And you can put there an image or a video, YouTube link, or just some text.
Can you track down the trolls if they post something? I guess is it through IP addresses, or how would that work? Like law enforcement, if they ask?
Yeah, so if anyone uses our service via Twitter and via Discord, their username and account is linked to that post. So I don't think people will use it from there. But obviously, you can do it anonymously on the blockchain of Dash if you do it yourself. Like, it's just a bunch of console commands you can write into your Dash wallet, and you can just store anything there. And actually, we are running right now a service which goes to the whole blockchain of Dash, and we also run that on other blockchains. And we are looking for messages that already exist. And there's not many, but there's some strange stuff in there. So all this stuff will also be shown up on the website. So if you go to MyDashWallet /chat, you can see all the messages till the end of time, or till the beginning, till the end of time of Dash, and you can just see them there. And obviously, like, if people do stuff, or even in the past, if there is bad stuff in there, we have to filter it out. But right now it looks pretty good, and Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin had the same problems in the past, and they have solved it as well, or just ignored it.
Wow.
So hopefully it doesn't get too bad.
I've dropped the link in the live chat for those who want to check it out. It looks like Joel's jumped on there and already made a few comments, which is great. So don't stop watching the podcast. You can still listen in the background, but yeah, feel free to check that out. I can see, yeah, there's a few YouTube links on the images. I'm guessing Joel, because Joel likes to make bets with people every now and then about Dash prize predictions and stuff. This might be a good place. That might be good for you to do in the future. So, because a lot of the bets existed in the previous Slack. So next time, I think your existing bet is with Albert. So you could have had a bet and you could actually just put it on the blockchain there. So there's no disputing what the deal was. So
yeah, that's a good idea.
But yeah, that's cool. So Joel, you've just had a chance to use it. Was it simple? Was it straightforward? Was it user intuitive?
Yeah. So I use it through Discord, right? And I just did !chat. And then just type some stuff. So, let's see, chat. What am I going to say?
You can also click on the link and you see it directly in the Block Explorer. You see like the hex code and you see what it's translating to. It's really fun to look at stuff.
So you was inspired to do this because of the Memo Bitcoin Cash service.
It works exactly the same.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I heard people talking about this, and it didn't. It looked like it didn't really take off because it kind of looks. No. It's kind of like a novelty Twitter, right? But I guess
expensive.
That's a really good point. I know you mentioned this before we started the podcast. How much does it cost to actually do one of the messages, roughly?
So for Dash, it's around 200 DAFs, which is right now like 1/20th of a cent. So you can write like 20 messages for 1 cent. It's really cheap. So even if Dash goes up way in value, it's still like less than a cent. So it's really, really cheap. And yeah, what makes it fun. Like for Bitcoin, like you have a much higher like transaction cost anyways, and then each Bitcoin is obviously like 30 times more. So you have to pay like hundreds of times more, like 300, 400 times more. And then it's not longer economical because no one will spend like 30 cents every time he wants to write something. That's way too expensive. Then people obviously only use it to spam and do advertisement for the websites and stuff like that, which probably a problem we will have soon too.
Could be. Well, I mean, it's interesting to watch because if you look at transaction volumes on the networks, if you look at Bitcoin caches, they include this, right? They include memo.cash doing this kind of stuff. And so Dash hasn't had that for a while. And so now, I mean, we'll see if this thing takes off. If we do make it take off, which, you know, I mean, I think it's a cool feature. We'll see how many people want to have it in like the public chat there. Sure. But we should be able to see a difference in transaction volume and be able to compare that. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's just a fun feature. Like if no one cares, then obviously it still stays there. And from time to time, like I think the less people use it, the more interesting it is for people just want to announce something, because it will stay longer on the top. So it's similar to Twitter. Like if not many people use it, you just look there once a day and see some stuff. But if everyone is chatting like crazy, like, oh no, that's too much, I don't read all that. And then you don't care about anything anymore. And yeah, so it's a trade-off. And probably once too many people use it, we need to add some filters and tags and replies and all that crap.
Yes. Now, thought about you doing an evolution DApp out of this to make it a lot more of a smooth interface, more of a complicated system, store things and state transitions and on the data blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah. That would probably be 10 times easier than this, because this was basically a big hack. And like I noticed already some issues in the documentation, which is really great for Dash, by the way. And just wrote like it currently just says like basically this is how it works in Bitcoin since 2012, and there's like 83 bytes where you can store this, which is kind of correct, but you run in all kinds of trouble if you do it like in the explanation. And now it's updated, by the way. So the core devs noticed that I was complaining a bit, and now we have a better help, and now basically explains step by step how it works. And there's basically lots of experimentation I had to do to get it to work, because in the blockchain there's almost no data like that. So I can check how many blocks we just checked, because I wrote a service. It's really, really slow to go through the blockchain and check every single transaction, because there's like how many, like 5 million blocks, and each block has like hundreds of transactions sometimes. And we just checked now around 10,000 blocks. So this is like, I don't think it's much. It's like 2 weeks or something. And now it goes through more and more data and finds more messages. So let me check how many messages. So currently we have 16 messages, and some of them, some messages are really strange because it's just like a blob of data, like you cannot read it. So we exclude those from the website, and some stuff is like really random garble stuff. So we also exclude that.
Brian has been asking for probably the best part of 2 years now for a YouTube tip bot. Is this something that you've looked at? Is this something achievable? Because Dashful started out via Troll Patrol, and Brian was in the trenches doing comments and stuff. And in fact, now on this podcast, it'll be a great tool to have. Is it something you've explored?
Yeah, we looked at Facebook and YouTube and some other platforms as well. But the main problem is there's no API to write a bot. So basically what you have to do is act like a human and go through all the YouTube videos and check if anyone is writing something in any comment, which is really slow, obviously. But you could do it at least for related stuff that's maybe linked up to Dash, or if maybe a user like somehow mentions the bot, please look here, and then the bot can execute the command. So that's basically the main problem. There's like for Discord, it's like super easy. For Telegram, it's like super easy. For Twitter and Reddit, it's a bit more difficult, but there's always an API where you can call and check if you get mentioned, and some way for the bot to notice, which is really important for something like Reddit, because it's impossible to read all the subreddits. But if you get via the API a mention, then you can work basically anywhere on the whole platform.
Yeah, we should really utilize that a lot more. I noticed that the tipbot gets used in the main Dash Pay subreddit, but I think in terms of our cryptocurrency, although it's not always the most pleasant of places, there are many cryptocurrency subreddits. And really, if you're watching this and you're in the community and you see someone that does writes a valuable comment, or is sharing or putting something valuable, then yeah, that would be a really good way to gauge them and just send them a tip, because they get the link, right? And then they can just follow it through. And if they don't claim it, it goes back, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. So after 7 days, if you tip someone, oh, I see there's more people now using it. After 7 days, if you tip someone, like it's the same on Discord, on Twitter, on Reddit, if you send someone an email and like do whatever, the account that gets created is also a bot account. So the bot has still control over the funds. And if he noticed that the user that you tip to never clicks on a link, never interacts with a bot, and never does anything, which is quite a lot of users, especially on something like Reddit, where people just think, oh, it's spam, and never click on it, can be quite high. And if that happens after 7 days, the bot sends another message to the user and says, you have now 48 hours to claim your price, like your redeemed Dash. And if you don't do that, everything is sent back to the original sender. And that works the same way for rain, and it works the same way for like all the commands. Like whenever you send Dash out and it's not redeemed, it gets sent back to you. And that's actually the reason we have a sequent agent that is like on different subreddits and is like tipping people. And like we see a lot of like, usually we don't want to spend much on that, but like after a week, like lots of funds get back, and then the next round of crazy tipping goes on. So it's like a fun experience.
It's very interesting to see how the whole tipping thing works out, and how a lot of energetic communities really get into tipping, and the people don't care about it as much.
Yeah,
that's really cool feature.
There's been a couple questions asked already from Splawick, very well known.
Just the website, by the way.
Yeah, so putting you on the spot
was just hacked.
Putting you on the spot,
like by Joshua, by the way. What did he do?
Excellent. Well, Splawick would like to know, do you have any idea how many transactions MyDashWallet has done since the beginning of it funding, or just in general? Is it getting a lot of traffic? Is it getting a lot of use? Do you know how many users are actually using the service? Or is that hard to gauge because of the rains and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to gauge because I just fixed the hack that Joshua did. So it's a bit annoying. So some data we don't know, because everyone that uses the wallet does it in his browser. So we cannot know what someone does in his browser. It's not online. So you can unplug your internet and still use it. And obviously we don't know what's going on there. But we know everything, for example, that goes over the bot, because you first have to contact the bot and the bot does something, and then we can count stuff like that. And we have a page where everything like that is displayed. So you can just go to MyDashWallet/stats, and there you see all the stats. And you see like every month, some of the counters goes up way like 300%. So it's really cool to see that but it's always something different. Like 1 month, like everyone goes crazy and does coin flips. So we went from like 500 to 12,000 coin flips. And another month, like we had like twice as much tip accounts because of lots of rains. And yeah, I don't know what's going on this month. Probably chat. So who knows? So it's really explosive growth.
Excellent.
Yeah, let's talk about the stress test.
Oh, we're there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, not enough stress up in here. We need to get stressed. Come on.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So those of you on the DashPay subreddit, Benjamin made a comment earlier in the week. For those of you that don't know, and can open and watching this online on YouTube, you can open up another browser and you can go to, what's the address for the stress test graphics?
So you can either go on the MyDashWallet, there's a link at the bottom, or you just type in stresstest.mydashwallet.org. And there you see some Bitcoin cars and some Dash planes flying by. Sometimes we get banned from the API because too many people access it at the same time. So you just have to refresh after a few seconds and then it should work again. So it's a bit annoying right now.
What is what kind of measures are put in place to make sure like the bot doesn't die during the stress test? I know there was issues with the one before. Yeah. Oh, it's going to?
Yes. Like we already know that from testing. We did a smaller test in October where we spun up 80% of the nodes for the test and just ran it for like 10 minutes or something. And we noticed lots of things were like completely overloaded. So all the online explorers basically displaying like incomplete data, which is a main problem. But the good thing is once the next block is mined, and if it's full, then all those transactions are still there. So basically it catches up after a while. And yeah, we noticed some things crashing and put some extra stability stuff in there, but we have to monitor all day, like everything could like fall apart. And that's actually the reason we want to do the test now before 0.13 is out. So we have like an early test where we can check everything runs really smooth, like for a whole day. And then also would be nice to reach a new transaction like high, like a new world record for Dash. And yeah, and then hopefully in a month or so when the new version is out, after some extra testing, maybe at the end of the year, we will do another big test.
And what day is it and what time does it start?
So it's in 2 days. So it's on Sunday and it will start on Dash time when like at 0 hours, so which is UTC time or like UK time. Yeah, it's
that's why I'm stay dashy.
Exactly. It's the Dashy time. Lots of people are now doing evil stuff on the chat. Yeah.
To be expected, right? It's to be expected. But look, people are using it, so that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
So look, what's the main objective of the stress test? Because before people were saying it's to reach like 5 million transactions. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically we want to fill up all the blocks to like the full capacity, which has never been done before. Like in the last test, we reached some blocks for a short while that were full, but most of the time it was like 50%, sometimes 80% full, but we never reached like really high numbers, like 80, 90, 100% full blocks for a long time. Like you can do it like for 2-3 blocks, if you really spam the mempool and do lots of stuff there, but it's really hard to do it consistently. And that's actually the problem that Bitcoin Cash was having, because they have like a huge block size of 32 megabytes and they cannot fill it, because once they spam all these transactions in the network, all the nodes get overloaded and nothing works anymore. And then the next block gets mined with like 10% of the stuff in the mempool. And obviously it never reaches the high numbers that they want. So they made some changes now, and who knows how it will work in a week. So we will know more in a week when they do their test. And we did basically some tests ourselves. And our idea is that we have 10 Dash nodes, and each nodes gets spammed with like lots of transaction, which we developed a few months back. So basically it's really simple. You make a transaction chain. There's a limit of 25 transactions you can do. And then you get an error message and Dash says, please wait to the next block. And those 25 transactions we can just do in a chain. So that's like 25 times as much as you would normally get. And then we do that many, many times in parallel, so that we can reach up like a few thousand transactions each 2 minutes to like between 2 and 3 minutes. And then everything is gefilled. And one Dash node cannot do that on its own. So it will basically overlord. So that's why we added like a second one and another one and another one. And when we did this test like a month ago, the main problem was we didn't want to put too many transactions. So we want to keep the mempool low, but still have full blocks. And like it turns out that doesn't work. So what we have to do is like really push a ton of transaction into the blockchain, like 5 times as many as it can handle, and then basically it gets overloaded, and only when it's overloaded, like all the blocks get full, and then we have to slow down a bit. So it's like a difficult act of like balancing, like don't do too much because then everything crashes, and don't do too little, then all the blocks are too small. So that's basically what we tested, and we only know this to work for the current version of Dash. So we have no clue how it will perform on the next version. So we need to do another bunch of tests for that and make sure everything works. There's also some changes already with the code that we are calling, and that's working a bit different now. And Bitcoin Cash does its own thing, which might cause another bunch of fixes. So there's lots of stuff going on with this kind of stuff.
Is the DashCore group actually in communications with you about this? Because the first stress test was kind of like community started, like it was out of control, which was great, right? Because it was a community-driven thing. But this time round,
I was like, let's do it, and then we did it.
So Core is fully on board with this, and they know what you're up to, and they've had input.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm talking to Fernando and John. And like they talk to all the other guys, and like all the guys on Discord know about this. So yeah, we're in constant communication.
And they're okay with you doing this before, because as we've already kind of covered, a lot of people were anticipating this stress test because you could actually donate in the community to the stress test, and people were expecting it for actually the 12.4, which has now been renamed to 0.13. But for reasons given already, now that's going to be happening on Sunday, this Sunday. And then, of course, we've got on Monday, we've got the Dash Core Group quarterly call on the 12th. So it's going to be a fantastic week for Dash. So hopefully we should get lots of media attention. And this isn't just like a record for Dash. This is like blockchain record, right? If we can get to the 5 million transactions.
It will be more than like all the top 20 blockchain-based and Ethereum-based blockchains combined. Like that will be more. Like Bitcoin is most, and Bitcoin Cash did a record of like 2 million. But if we reach twice that, like it will be way more than anyone combined ever did.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. How confident, as someone who actually knows about this stuff, how confident do you think that Dash will be able to keep the bigger stress test going than Bitcoin Cash?
So I think we will reach our goal of 4 to 5 million transaction based on our testing. Like we don't know if like things explode and everything will go bad. That's why we do an early test now, so we can make another test like later when the new version is out. But we tested it and like it looks okay. One thing I didn't mention originally, like in July, late July, when I like had this crazy idea, let's do like a transaction spike, which translated to 700,000 transactions in 24 hours. We just did a small test on the testnet, like in a couple of hours, and everything worked like super fine there. Like every single block was filled, like all the nodes were communicating just fine. There were no problems. And then we went to mainnet and everything exploded. So that's actually the reason you should do it. Like it's not really like, oh, we need to have the highest transaction count. Actually, we need to prove that Dash and like Bitcoin Cash has the same problem. They need to prove that it works. Like the whole debate about let's make bigger blocks makes no sense if no one is using it, at least testing it, like for a short time at least. And we know like Bitcoin, like how much it could do and where's the limit. But like no one knows what would happen if Bitcoin goes to like 10 times as many as big block size. And like for Dash, we also don't know what would happen if you go to 4 megabytes. It probably is a bit different then, and we need to do another test. And sooner or later that will happen. So that's really nice about Dash, that it will increase and increase and get better and better.
That's the good thing about this is if you implement some kind of a public blockchain messaging system into the Evolution platform, before you do a big stress test, you can let all the people who are running their businesses on Dash know that things might be a little choppy that day.
Yeah, actually, Dash itself works fine through all the the stress tests. So we don't think anyone will be impacted. Like no one using an exchange, and most tools will just work fine. Like here and there will probably be some people like yelling, "What are you doing?" And but they cannot prevent it. Like it's an open public blockchain. Anyone can do what we do. So like there's no rules. You can do whatever you want.
The anarchy.
Yeah. Have you spoken to any media or journalists? Because I'm guessing that's part of the graphical user interface this time with the stresstest.mydashwallet.org, because it's very pretty to look at, and it actually gives you some kind of measurement because you can actually see it happening before your eyes. You don't have to wait to hear about it the following day. So have you spoken to anyone media related, like journalists? Because like surely this is of interest, because this is like you're basically making history here.
Yeah, so we have like a small list of contacts that we will send out tomorrow. Yeah, but we didn't reach many people yet. So basically we're doing guerrilla marketing right now. And obviously you guys, like if you put up an article, then obviously it will get noticed sooner or later. But I think most people, like last time, will only notice like way later. Like many news articles came out like 1 week later. And that's how it is. But doesn't matter. Like once we reach the world record, it's a good news story.
I think we might be plotting something.
Yeah, I'm kind of like looking at Joel right now. It's just like, because we've been doing the PR game, right? And I think really you want to get in there as early as you can, because especially journalists from bigger publications, they like to have the exclusivity. So if me and Joel reach out to some journalists without talking too much about this in the podcast, and if they get in contact with you over the weekend, would you be okay to give quotes?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, well, I think I know what I'm doing over the weekend now. So,
yeah, no partying for Mark.
What is the current record for Dash right now? What is from the last time?
So last time we reached, it's different on each block explorer. That was one of the learnings, because we started in the evening, like at 21 hours or something, so 9 p.m. And basically Dash time was like 2 hours later, Dash reset, and basically all the transactions in the first 2-3 hours were basically counted for the first day, and all the transactions after that were counted for the second day. And so we didn't reach like on some block explorers we reached like 700,000, and on others only 500,000. But still, that's like the biggest number that we had, and it was more than all the other blockchains at that point. So we reached the new record for like against Bitcoin, against Ethereum, which always has trouble going over 500,000. And at that time, Bitcoin Cash didn't have as many. They were like at 200,000. But then in the 1st of September, Bitcoin Cash did a big test, and they reached like 2.1 million. And they wanted to reach like 20 million or something. But they had these problems I was describing earlier, that all the nodes were like overloaded and nothing was working as expected.
Yeah, didn't they have issues? I don't know from the technical side, but I thought there was some fuckery going on, I guess, with the orphan blocks. I heard something about that, and then they were mining empty blocks or something. Can you explain any of that?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Someone else just hacked the website. They're all having fun with JavaScript. We really need to disable that. What the technical issue was, but there was, as you described, some orphan blocks. So which means like a block gets mined, and then later another block gets mined, and the first block is not longer valid, and then you can get in all kinds of trouble. And then also it's a problem for the mempool, because all those transactions go back in the mempool, and then other nodes don't like that, and you have big problems. Like basically worst case, like stuff forks, and you have now 2 chains and stuff like that, and then nodes don't agree anymore. Luckily, with our test, we never had that. So for Dash, it's a much more stable system, because we don't have this many implementations of the code base. Because for Bitcoin Cash, there's like 5 different implementations. Everyone does something different, has different parameters. And for them, it's much harder to do this kind of test. And as you can see from the fork in a week, Bitcoin Cash is not really like a community that's together. Like it's like a big mess.
That's one of the nicest ways I've heard that described. Guys, you're acting like a community that's like not together. Well, how about it's like total hash war and destruction and people with their hair on fire. I wonder how they will do the stress test if the hard fork is on the 15th. Which chain is
Bitcoin ABC, which will be the only, like in my opinion, the only real Bitcoin Cash that's left.
Yes. Now, what happens though if, as threatened, Craig Wray decides to start mining empty blocks on the Bitcoin ABC chain to destroy the chain? Then you could have a stress test with 0 transactions or something like that. That would be very interesting to watch.
I've got a small request. Have you considered, the website's great. I'm loving the planes whizzing past. I'm sure Scott from Dash Aerosports absolutely loves that.
To me, it's his photo.
To maximize exposure of this momentous day coming ahead on Sunday, would it be possible to live stream and broadcast the actual website? So you can get a video stream, and then we can share that out on the official Dash social media, and we can help notify thousands of people what's going on, because they will see a live stream of of the website and things ticking along, and they'll be like, "What's going on here?" And hopefully we can get some
millions of planes.
Oh, so you do have plans to do this?
No, that would be great. Like, hopefully the website doesn't crash with millions of planes on it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm sure. Well, look, and if there's anyone here in the community that's on Twitch, for example, that's been popular in the past, you can live stream on Twitch. I'm guessing most people gaming on Twitch won't have any idea what the hell's going on. But I think in terms of the official Dash social media, in terms of Facebook and Twitter, to put a live video stream on there of the website of things ticking over and the number count and stuff, I think that's going to be great, because I think that the official Twitch account's got like 319,000 followers. So I'm sure for media and journalists, that's going to get some, a lot of eyes.
Don't like to interrupt it, but I'm getting reports that we should probably disable the chat for now, because there's the ability to, basically there's an issue currently, and a few people have messaged me, so it might be dangerous to use. So don't use the chat right now until you fix it. He knows what I'm talking about.
I fixed it, like all the JavaScript stuff, but obviously we need to do a check there. As I said, like 5 minutes before the show, it just went online, and it's not really tested well yet.
Yeah.
Well, but see that the community uses it, and now I think we have now more chat messages in the whole Dash blockchain, like in half an hour, than in all the history of Dash of 4 years. So that's nice.
Of course, yeah. No one's hooked up a messaging system. Now, what I've liked, so you've worked very hard on all kinds of interesting things, and you've submitted treasury proposals that were more like Dash Boost proposals in terms of how much money was being asked. And that's the one thing that's kind of blown my mind, is that you had a whole bunch of different projects, and of course I won't name names, but they're asking for sometimes millions of dollars to build development things, and then we have like 30 Dash here, 20 Dash there, and then just build all kinds of stuff. Oh, we're stress testing the whole network. Oh, we got a little wallet, we got a mobile wallet too. Oh, we got this and that. And so how do you do it on the cheap so well?
Yeah, so first of all, we were a bit unlucky, because like our first proposal went pretty well. Like it was at the very high of the Dash price. And then since then, like every time we did a proposal, like the next month it crashed like 50% or something like that. So it's not fun like that, because we thought like, okay, if Dash price goes up, then we have more money and can do more stuff. And if it goes down a bit, then okay, it gets a bit more tight. But if it crashes like 50%, that's not longer fun, or like 30%. But we managed. Like we have other projects we're working on, and for some of them it was even worse. Like one project we did crashed like 80% or something till we get the payment. And since then, we obviously try to get the payment in dollars or euros and not in crypto. So it's not always fun, but it's crypto. Like you gotta play with it. So we manage. So everything is fine for us. Like we have a small team, so we have 2 crypto developers and 1 artist and me, and we work on different projects. And so usually, like the cool thing is, for example, about the bots, we can use it for different projects, and basically everything benefits, like Dash benefits from it if we implement a new feature. For another platform, we implemented all this coin swapping feature where you can change Dash to Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. And that's really cool. And like we did zero work for that for Dash. It just works. So stuff.
Oh, he's frozen up there. Did we lose him?
Oh,
no. You froze for a second, but we got you back now. That's fine.
How was the private SIM going?
What do you mean on the website?
Yeah, I know at first there was a little delay sometimes with the private send, I guess because there's some of the liquidity. Is there a delay still, or? Yeah,
there was 2 issues. Like one of the most annoying issues was like when we started it few months back, there was an issue in the Dash blockchain which we didn't know about, where you could spend. So basically, you send funds to a wallet, and then that with zero confirmation, that gets immediately mixed, which is like a nice feature because then it gets mixed faster. But there was a problem that the transaction numbering was different. So sometimes the first transaction was the mixing and the second transaction was the input, which was really strange. Confused, and people were getting like twice their money back or like no money. That we had like so you can see it right now on the website, how it's explained. So basically, you send the funds to the mixing collection node. The mixing collection node sends it to different mixing nodes, and each mixing node sends it then to the master nodes via the mixing. And then once all that is done, it is sent out to the target address. And this whole process can go through in like 2 seconds. So it's really, really fast. But if there is no pre-mixed funds, then it can take up to 12 hours, depending on the Dash network, like how full, like how many, like some people send like 400 Dash or something like that through the service. So that takes obviously a long time. That took like a whole day to mix. And yeah, other people are very happy with it. Like we notice many like Chinese and Korean people are using it because they're constantly writing us emails we don't understand. And they're like, oh, it's super cool service. And they write like, why did it now take 5 minutes? Like last time it only took 10 seconds. Like explain it to me. Why does it take 5 minutes? And we are like really confused. Like, didn't you read the website? It says like up to 12 hours. And,
yeah, Google Translate works on the website. Do that and read the instructions.
Do you have any plans to make any decentralized applications with Evolution, or do you have like a bigger roadmap as you've got application history? I mean, I can see you as one of those people that if you don't like the Dash Pay wallet, you'll just make your own version because you seem to be very hands-on.
And let me kind of add my thinking into that too. As I've mentioned to a few different people before, they say there's this 80-20 rule where 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people, but it's more like 95-5. 95% is done by 5%. And so what that tends to be, basically, whenever I see someone doing good work consistently over time for good prices, I try to bully them into keeping on working. Get back to the mines, keep working, because otherwise, there's plenty of people who are more than happy to submit proposals to get exorbitant amounts of money to do basically nothing. And so we're trying to keep those people out and keep the good people in. So I don't know if that's Mark's motivation for asking the question, but that's my motivation in wanting to know the question. I want to make sure you're still in this because you're one of the good ones,
Sure. Like we want to develop dApps. One thing I think in the future of Dash, it would be much nicer if we have projects that are self-funding. Like maybe initially they need some funding to get started. And we have many things in Dash that kind of make sense. Like once, like let's say you have an ATM and the ATM obviously needs to be paid and put there, and you have lots of risk. But once you have it there with this huge fees, you make a lot of money, and there's no need to for the Dash network to pay ongoing operations. And the same is actually also true for the MyDashWallet website. We already got some requests like, do you want to put some banners on there and stuff like that? So in long term, it would be nice if, for example, the mixing like gets a higher fee, for example, because people like it. And then maybe for tipping, there's like the bot can always take like 1% or 0.1% of a fee. And then basically, if many people are using it, we can use those funds to develop more stuff. And then we don't need to go back to the to the blockchain and always ask for funding, which is kind of like, oh, here, give me money, give me money. It's a bit, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a bit strange for us. But yeah, I totally understand why Dash does it, and it works really great. So I think it's obviously the best blockchain because of that, because of all the governance. And yeah, so we're happy to work for Dash, and we hope in the future it will work automatically. Like maybe we are dApps. I think dApps are really an important step, and maybe there's like an easier way for a merchant to basically get on there. So you need some initial, either the company or the Dash network pays for it. And then once you have that and it works, obviously as a company, you want to make money. And then you have a like oncoming revenue stream. And then you don't need to go back to the blockchain every single time. I think that's the future of Dash, because I don't think you can fund all kinds of random projects and continue funding them forever. At some point, they need to make money.
Yeah, I think you offended one of your Korean people, because I see a whole bunch of Korean in the live chat there. He's getting angry at you. But the other question about private sets. So with version 13 and deterministic master list, it should be possible to make trustless private send on mobile devices. But it seems like this is not going to be anyone's priority for a while. It seems like mostly the core team wants to focus on other things.
Yeah.
Now, if you got a proposal in to do development on this, is that something that you would be either interested in doing or even able to kind of work into this wallet?
Yeah, as far as I understand it, it requires a like a change to the protocol. So it's something like someone that obviously builds the wallet and basically Dashcore. So Dashcore has to approve it. And for that reason, I think no one is really like risking to do the work, because it could just get rejected. And obviously for Dashcore, it's also a lot of time to check the code and see if everything is right. I don't think there's any pull requests from external parties that are getting accepted into Dashcore, because many things in the development are also like hidden, like all the evolution stuff is not really public. So that's basically the reason we never looked deeper into it. But yeah, we are pretty confident and comfortable with privacy features. So we have working a lot with Dash privacy, obviously, but also with ZeroCoin and with Monero and stuff. So we know all the technicals, but I wouldn't call like our team an expert in that area. Like we could do it, but yeah, it's not our focus right now. But in the future, sure, why not?
Have you ever considered doing any consultancy work or offering a service to perhaps the gaming industry, as you've got a bit of background and insight into that, so you could approach the gaming industry and say like, hey, if you want to integrate Dash into your service, we can help do that. We can be your consultants and show you how to do that. Because it seems that you're very passionate about gaming, and it seems like your team is already involved in that world in terms of the mobile applications that you mentioned earlier before. Is this something that you've explored?
Yeah, we explored it. We want to do it for our own game. But I think the main problem is you always see like big messages on Twitter. Oh, like DigiByte now integrated into Minecraft and complete bullshit like that. And the problem is like you can do it for one single project or for one single like minor part, but the main problem is the big publishers and the big Apple and Google and Microsoft. They obviously want all the payments flowing to their system, and if you do anything with crypto, it's not longer under their control. So they are completely against it, and once they see something like that, they will immediately ban your app. And obviously no big publisher would ever risk that. So you could do it in smaller games. I have seen some games already where you can do smaller stuff with like Bitcoin, and there's some Lightning games also. And I think it's really cool for Dash, because Dash is really cheap and makes a lot of sense to make like a tiny purchase in a game. Let's get some gold, let's get some extra skin and stuff like that. So I really like that idea. But I think once you go big, like once you go to EA level or like Ubisoft, like you will get lots of problems and it will take a long time. But I think totally in the future, like in 10 years, like it makes no sense to use like Steam or Apple Pay or something. Everything should go to the blockchain. It's much more efficient. It makes much more sense. It would directly go from the user to the developer, and it would be 10 times better than what we have right now. But I think right now it's a bit early. Like
but surely the blockchain usernames itself that will come available with Evolution and DashPay is going to be a huge advantage to this. I remember watching the first Evolution demo that Joshua in the chat demonstrated, and we saw these images of the mock-ups, and we saw the DApp generator, right, which helps you create things. I can see you yourself, as you like to build tools and stuff for communities to use, to perhaps build a tool as a kind of a payment solution for people that want to build applications and stuff on the Dash Evolution platform that can just like plug and play with your tools and solutions. That may be something that would be good for the mobile gaming community, because then essentially accounts and profiles are already established by the the DashPay account usernames, and then you could easily just integrate that. So for people already, in terms of like logging into systems, that stuff's already handled and taken care of. Am I
cool? Yeah, I agree totally. Another cool project, by the way, as you mentioned, this is BTC Pay, which is like a clone of BitPay. It's open source, and Dash is also integrated there. And we were asked to help out with integrating private send and instant send there. And we also had one of the many parts of our proposal was to do a store where you have a simple like plugin like thing that you can just put on your website, and then you can sell anything for Dash. So you can sell like stuff like t-shirts that you can order, or you're just virtual items, or you have a game or anything, and basically you just use it, which is really cool. And obviously once Evolution is out and dApps are available and usernames and all the cool stuff, there's like plenty more opportunities for this kind of stuff.
So hang on, so is this just like a all-in-one solution? So this would be kind of like a marketplace that you can upload your stuff to? Or are you going to provide the tools as well to integrate? Because right now, if people come to us in terms of e-commerce and say we want to integrate Dash, there's lots of, depending on what platform they're using, Shopify, WordPress, we can put them towards GoCoin and other solutions, but they're typically third parties. And they also offer other cryptos as well. Are you looking into creating some kind of solutions that's just Dash specific that we can point people towards?
It's a kind of difficult to answer because those solutions exist. But if you listen closely, I said open source. So that's basically the opposite of everything you just described, because it kind of works, but it's so horrible to use, and you have to go through crazy kinds of tutorials. And even ourselves, like, I don't think we are that stupid, but like we were really confused about the whole process. Like, what? We have to do that now, and then that, and then what the fuck? And now it doesn't work anymore. And that's really, really difficult. So obviously, like a normal shop wouldn't go through that crazy process. So that's one of the things we wanted to make a bit easier. But I think it's still, it's not like 1 month away. It's probably like 6 months of improvements and then adoption and stuff like that. So it's a long time in the future where things get easy, because right now nothing is easy in crypto. Like
I do remember with the whole BTC Pay thing, right after BitPay decided to start taking Bitcoin Cash, then all of our Bitcoin on Reddit was just losing their mind over that and trying to get everyone to run BTC Pay servers. And it's like, no, don't use BitPay, just use this.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, I never looked into it too much because I just thought, it's nonsense. But now I'm kind of thinking, well, first off, making some open source thing where you kind of have to run your own server and stuff like that, what merchant is going to want to do that?
No one.
And second, I mean, because one of the best things about BitPay was you just set it up quickly and easily. But the other thing is the single competitive advantage of BitPay was that it automatically converted to your bank account. And you can't have some open source server thing you run, just like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
so I remember just
third party that does it for you, and that doesn't work, and they're changing every time, so it's a big mess. So,
yes, and I just remember thinking trying to do an alternative to BitPay by doing something radically different and not understanding why people used it to begin with. It was kind of interesting and kind of funny to watch.
I still think the software is cool, and the guys that are working there, it's like a really nice community, like, because there's like 30 different altcoins implemented there, or 20, and everyone is talking to everyone, and like normally people that hate each other, they go there and they like each other and work together, which is really cool. But it's like completely geek heaven, so it's not like user friendly at all. So it will take some time, and hopefully it gets better.
Well, as long as it breaks down the nerd hate a little bit, we could use a little bit less of that in the world.
Yeah, I think developers are more used to like trolling each other, and it's more like an inside joke thing. And obviously, if you don't know the other guy and then he makes bad remarks, everything gets out of hand. But like gamers usually like they flame all day, so no one gets hurt if someone like yells at you. Like everyone laughs it off. But it's obviously different in different communities.
Yes. Yeah. I was just thinking, I mean, it's been a while since I've been gaming, but I remember on Xbox Live, there was a lot of smack all the time. So,
and Xbox Live is like moderated. There's much more horrible places.
Yes. I had an old coworker who was a big gamer, and he was, I think, at one point the world Halo 3 champion.
Wow.
And he's a competitive game, just like, and he used to beat people in frustrating ways that made it look like it was easy to beat him, but then it just didn't work out for them. And he frustrated. So some people would send him videos and pictures of them lighting their own Xbox on fire out of rage because they were so upset with him. And I don't understand how destroying your own property gets back at him. But I guess when you're that angry because he just got beaten in a game, is what it is.
I mean, I'm about the gaming scene for a few years now, or maybe a bit longer than that. But from some of the conferences I went to a few years ago, I always remembered this kind of theme with gaming. And obviously they're trying to attract the younger demographic, but they're saying that, that there was a few projects that were trying to do competitions in gaming and getting cryptocurrency rewards. Could you foresee something like, because you're clearly very passionate about gaming, could you foresee a kind of like battle tournament style where you could win Dash rewards? Would that be something that interests you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the first steps, like all these poker tournaments. Basically, esports is the same thing. Like every single esport event is like big prize driven, and like there's many communities like StarCraft, which is like a real big game, and lots of people know it, but the community is kind of small, so there's lots of smaller tournaments where the only thing that you get is like a pizza. Like if you win, you get one pizza. That's it. And then people play like the whole weekend through the whole tournament, and then at the end they get a pizza. And there's lots of smaller stuff like that. And for that, it makes much more sense to have something like a blockchain where you can just say, oh, there's like a reward, and like it's much easier also to use and set up, and people could just donate and make advertisements, and that's 10 times better than the systems that we currently have.
Well, clearly lots of people, using Twitch. So even if you used a game like, people still play CS:GO and all that sort of stuff, because that's a free game, right? So if you stream this tournament on live on Twitch, so people are watching it, and then there was going to be some kind of winning thing, because clearly thousands of people are doing this because Amazon owns Twitch, right? So all these kids are watching other people play games, but that's a really great avenue to get in there because it's competition of the best getting through. And if we can have multiple Dash prizes, that's a great way to get exposure to a different demographic that's in gaming and also tech savvy that may not have made the leap into cryptocurrency yet. So, and that sounds like would be quite straightforward to do as well.
Yes, it would be very interesting to see a whole bunch of, like, the gamification of Dash is something that when everything runs smoothly enough would be amazing. So for example, how about you and your friends do a fitness challenge that you like strap a heart monitor and you get certain points for working out at a certain level. And to start, you each put in at one Dash. And then at the end, based on however well you did, or winner takes all or whatever, then you get to split it up. Or here's something about that would work great for merchant adoption. Do like a Pokemon Go thing, except instead of catching Pokemon, you have to actually buy something at a physical Dash merchant. So you just throw a bunch of Dash at the project, and then I'm going to be the first one to visit all these locations and buy something.
I like that.
That's interesting. But every location of Dash, every brick and mortar Dash accepting merchant on the blockchain, its location, again, like the Pokemon app, open it up, so you got the camera thing, and then you can collect like a little Dash reward, and then you could have like a leaderboard of who's collected the most.
Yeah, and then you just see like Lorenzo has like all of them, and you just like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm in New Hampshire and Portsmouth. I'm going to get the rest of them. I already got all my country. Oh shit, he got ahead of us. Yeah, but I mean that would be good for really driving traffic to merchants, especially if you just even if it's not
in Latin America, I think so, especially as Colombia is getting more, and I think Argentina is really the next place to come on board. So that's a great incentive as well.
Yeah,
Also,
so it would be
lots of players obviously are tech savvy, and like pretty much through the mining of GPUs, everyone knows about cryptocurrency, and like it's like a really a nice market to get into, because everyone is like knowing about it, comfortable, and it's not as difficult as in other markets where it would be difficult to explain, because everyone already understands it, they get it, and money is money. So like most people don't care what kind of money it is. Like it's not like, oh, it's Monero money, it's Dash money. Like who cares? It's money. And gamers, yeah, I think that's they're kind of poor, so I wouldn't expect them to be rich, because most are younger people. But if there's some prize to be won, then people will go crazy.
Excellent. Right. Well, I'm all questioned out. So you guys got any more questions?
a couple about the upcoming wallets. So I believe you had said you had HD wallets mentioned on the future, right? On the future roadmap. So HD wallets, I'm just thinking about everything I want in life. HD wallet, the ability to change your password or PIN on the mobile wallet. So I'm all about mobile. In fact, I think I was like a Bitcoin user for like 2 years or something before I ever even touched something that was not a mobile wallet. So those things, trustless private send, we already kind of went over that, and we'll see about that one. And it would be great if mobile HD wallet where you can change your PIN and it works really well, and you can link it to all your different your Twitter tipping account, your Reddit tipping account, your Discord, and just do it all from there. So like one app where you can just go and like buy your coffee with private send, and then you buy your coffee with private send, and then just tip Tone Vase on Twitter to taunt him about how he doesn't have Dash. All in one.
I think he does have Dash.
He used to. I don't know if he still does.
There was an article like a week ago, like that he's bashing Dash while he has like tons of it.
Yeah, accepts his donations and
for
his service as well, right? So yeah, and plus Joel, we know from when we met him. So
yeah, so the interesting thing about MyDashWallet is it's already HD wallet capable since the very beginning, because we had to implement that to support Ledger and Trezor, and those are HD wallets. The problem was more like the Keystore wallet version is like a really simplified version, and there's like lots of extra stuff that has to be implemented to make it really useful. So like importing, exporting to the full Dash wallet, and supporting other kinds of wallets, and like restoring from like key phrases and all that kind of stuff. And that's basically why we never finished it. Like it was always on the roadmap, and yeah, now we have to finish it. And there's also a new version for Android and iOS in the works, where we completely removed the web stuff. So it's all native now. So it's all native buttons on iOS and Android, and all the controls are much easier to use. And we also have some feedback from users that like didn't understand some parts, and like some parts were a bit difficult or like cumbersome to use. And we hope the new version, like probably next month. So we will be working on that later this month, and then next month when it's out, it will be really nice.
Yeah, I mean, though, it seems like it's always been top-notch work, always been quick, always done a bunch of cool new things, and oddly enough, it's always been a bunch of things I did not know I wanted. I first saw the proposal, I'm like, all right, so it's another wallet. Why do I need this? And then I start stuff. I'm like, tipping, Brian, they're making tipping. We can tip stuff again. Oh, they got private send. Oh, they can send a mobile one. Hey guys, and then just one thing after another, and then that gets me excited. I didn't even think about it to ask, but hey, now we're there.
Yeah, we actually have quite a lot of features that are hidden in the bot, and from time to time we enable one of them. But some of the features we just try out and they never work out. So, for example, we have a lottery system where you can play a lottery with Dash. Yeah, but there's too many problems. So we I think it's still live, but like no one uses it right now. And there's lots of similar like mini games on there. But like we never finished them. But sooner or later they will go live, and the good ones will go to the top, and then Joel will notice and will say, oh, this is a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Because in reality, we think about 10 ideas and 9 of them are not that good. And then the 10th idea is great and you guys like it.
Excellent. Well, I'm a fan, and I think you're very cost effective, and I think you've added great value to the network as well. And yeah, definitely keep on top of all the social media, because I do think the tip bots are so instrumental to our outreach and our community. And I'm really looking forward to the stress test on Sunday. And I was already making notes on my notepad as you was talking there to remind myself to reach out to journalists for Sunday. So I'll hopefully get a soundbite from you after the podcast, and then hopefully we can try and dangle the carrot and ship that out to people.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys, for all the help. You guys are obviously more connected than in crypto than we are.
Oh, yeah, well, you're helping us out. We're all one big family. Like, we're only as strong as the community is, right? So we can only talk about what the community is doing. And I think you're, as I said, I think you're offering fantastic value. And, you know, it's like you came out the blue, but now I can't actually imagine the Dash community without you and your services. So, like, you're an integral part of what we actually offer. So, yeah, it goes hand in hand. Right. So, your DeltaEngine on Discord and on Twitter as well, correct?
Yeah.
If people, so what's your preferred method of contact? If people are watching this and they've just had that brainwave moment thinking, oh my God, I've got this amazing idea, I've got to get in contact with Benjamin. What's your preferred method?
Contact me on any platform that we are on. Obviously, I don't check like Twitter all the time, but like the easiest way is obviously to write an email. So write at anything at DeltaEngine.net, or contact via Discord or Reddit, or doesn't matter. Like, everything reaches us.
Probably the best way would be to use the chat feature and put it on the blockchain.
Exactly, yeah. We will monitor that as well, especially if you do some JavaScript stuff like Joshua is doing all day.
Excellent. Right. Okay. I'm good.
At the bottom of the website. So if you need help with anything, you can just write at support@MyDashWallet, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Especially if you're Korean and Chinese, like that's our best kind of customers.
Right. Well, I wish you the very best for Sunday with the stress test.
Yes.
Next week, Brian's had the fantastic idea of kicking the Free Amigos old school, because we've had many guests on now. And with so much news happening in Dash, we never actually get to talk what happens during the week. So perhaps we're going to have like 3 guests on, and then at the 4th last week of the month or something, we're just going to talk about. And as we got the stress test on Sunday and the quarterly call, the next Free Amigos podcast, we're going to have plenty to talk about, and hopefully there'll be some exciting information coming out of that. So thank you, Benjamin, for coming on the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Yep. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, thanks very much. I know that I've been messaging you forever, yelling at you about, you got to do this now. We got to do this.
Yeah, like Joel was a really good early beta tester early this year, like in January when we had everything in beta.
Of course.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, Joel, you want to take us out, my friend?
Yes. Oh, don't forget to brush your teeth, wash your face before you go to bed. And yes, so after this, we always do the after party. So you go to, if you're not in the Dash Talk Discord yet, you're probably a loser. No, just kidding. But you should get in there. StayDashy.com. Mark reserve that domain, and it redirects right there. And it's easy and fun to remember. You get in there, you start asking around, hi guys, hey, where's the after party? And if we have any space, we'll put you right in. And then it's just like this, except instead of 4 of us, there's 10 of us just chatting for as long as people are still chatting for. So yeah, it's a good time. Go in there. Sometimes some cool stuff happens in there. So you never want to never go there. I know some people who actually they plan out their day. They actually block out Friday evening for the after party. I won't name any names, but you know who you are. Okay. So go in there, have a good time, stay fun, stay bald, and stay dashy.
Right. That sounds like that's my cue to come in. Right. So if you've enjoyed this and found it informative and you watched on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening, thank you very much as well. Keep supporting us. We do appreciate it. That was episode 77 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. Have a fantastic weekend. Make sure you check out the stress test on Sunday. I sure will be. I hope you do too. And stay positive, stay humble, but most importantly, stay dashy. Catch you later.